Okay, for the first question I got wrong, we have to find the value of the sine of 3 pi over 2 minus the cosine of pi over 3. It's in radians, so you have to switch it into degrees. You multiply 3 times 180 degrees because that's what pi equals, and then divide it by 2, and you get 270. And then you do the same for cosine. 180 divided by 3 would be 60. So it would be sine of 270 minus cosine of 60. Then you'd go on to find the sine of 270, and it's like an exact value on the unit circle. It would be 270 would be 0, -1, and since x is cosine and y is sine, you would use -1 because it's the sine of 270, so it's -1. Then you have to find the cosine of 60, and that's on our table. So after you make the table, you just go over to the cosine of 60, and it's 1/2. And then you just do -1 minus 1/2. Right here, I just did it, find the common denominator, and then you get -3/2, and then the answer is -1 and 1/2. Okay, so then for number 4, can you see it? For number 4, it's asking you to find x on a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And, okay, so then the x value would be 3, because that's across from 30 degrees. And then to find this x value here, you would need to put the original x value in x radical 3, because that's what the value of, like, the length of 60 equals x radical 3. So then, like, since x equals 3, x radical 3 would be 3 radical 3. For number 8, you have to find the theta of 120. Wait, okay, so for this one we have to find where 120 would be, and since it's in quadrant 2, the reference formula is 180 minus theta, so then you do 180 minus 120, and that equals 60. And since they want you to find the x value, x is cosine and y is sine, so you would do the cosine. So it would be the cosine of 60. And the cosine of 60, that's another value on our table up here. Can you see it? So it's cosine of 60 is 1/2 again. And since the angle of 120 is in the second quadrant, sine is positive in quadrant 2, that means cosine is negative, and so the answer would be A, -1/2. Okay, so now for number 12, can you see it? Okay, so we have to find the exact value of secant of 3 pi over 4. So since it's in radians, you have to switch it to degrees. So it would be 3 times 180 because 180 equals pi, and that would be 540, and then 540 divided by 4 is 135. Okay, since 135, you want to find the reference angle for that, and it's in the second quadrant, so the reference angle formula would be 180 minus theta. 180 minus 135 would be 45, so it would be the secant of 45. And since the reciprocal function of the secant of 45 would be cosine, so you would put 1 over the cosine of 45 since it's reciprocal, and then you would find the cosine of 45. And the cosine of 45 is another value on our table here. So the cosine of 45 would be radical 2 over 2. So it would be 1 divided by radical 2 over 2. Then you gotta keep, change, flip, and then you have to make and rationalize it because you can't have a radical in the denominator, so then it would be negative radical 2 because cosine in quadrant 2 is negative, so it's negative radical 2. For number 14, I found the reference angle instead of the coterminal angles. Well, no. The coterminal angle would be 141, and you needed to find the reference angle.